Now for more political news, the leader of the Joint Arab List, AYMAN just recently confirmed that under certain conditions he would be willing to sit in a center-left government coalition. But as Arab-majority parties have long since opposed sitting in any coalition at all, this comes as pretty big news. And here now for the analysis, we're joined by spokesman for GUSH SHALOM, Adam Keller, KNESSET candidate for Israel BEITEINU, Colonel Olivier Rafowicz, founder and executive director of the Israel Institute for Strategic Studies, Dr. Martin Sherman, and of course, Middle East expert from the Begin Sadat Center, Dr. Mordechai Kedar. Thank you all so much for coming in.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. Mr. Keller, I'll actually start with you. What are your initial reactions to this? Is this like a non-news, or is it as big news as everybody thinks it is?
I think it is a very big news. Also, that it's not going to have an effect for these immediate elections and the government which will be formed after it. Obviously, there is not going to be whoever will be the next prime minister. I don't think that there will be an Arab minister from the joint list in this government. But first of all, because it seems like Mr. Lieberman is going to be a key player in forming the next government, and I can't believe that any government in which Avigdor Lieberman will have a key role in forming will also include the joint list. I think. But I think it is important for the long range, because it is a very abnormal situation that Israel is a country where 20% of the citizens of Israel are not excluded, in fact, from the political game. Excluded from.
What's extraordinary is that 20% of the population identify largely with Israel's enemies.
Yeah, it is. That is part of the problem. The problem is, of course, connected. There is a direct connection between the role of the Arabs inside Israel and the war of Israel with the Palestinians and with the Arab world.
So, Dr. Kedar, what's your response?
Well, I think that Netanyahu should immediately go to the first flower shop and send Ayman a very, very big bouquet for what he said. Because actually what means is two things. One is that the Arabs will start to be part of decision-making in this country, and this will push many Jewish voters from Kahol Lavan, from blue and white, to the Likud. Because many of them belong to Telem party, which headed by Ya'alon, who are very much to the right, like Hauser and Yoaz Hendel were in.
The biggest enemies of Netanyahu.
And there is no way that Yoaz Hendel and Tzvi Hauser will sit in the Knesset with Ayman. So many of those who would support them against Netanyahu will now go to the Likud to make sure that Ayman remains out of the government. This is one thing. Second thing, which will happen is, most probably, is the blue and white party will actually fall apart before the elections. Why? Because Lapid might like to sit with Ayman in the Knesset, while Ya'alon and Ashkenazi already declared that he does not want, and this
they will stay together until the elections.
Adam Keller, you don't care about anybody else. Listen, one time, listen to others.
Yeah, I listen carefully. You can also listen to me.
Sometimes others could have good ideas, also for you.
Yeah.
So, and this is what will happen. Kahol Lavan now, blue and white, will have to explain how come they became so attractive for Ayman who hates Israel, doesn't want Israel to exist, and this actually will make sure that Netanyahu will be the next president, the next prime minister with a big majority in the Knesset.
Colonel Rafowicz, it looks like you have something like maybe you feel different.
No, I'm a little bit, I would say, surprised by all these declarations, not yours, but from their side, saying that Mr. Netanyahu should give a bouquet to the chief of this Arab list, because it sounds like there is a kind of, I would say, agreement, so-called, between Netanyahu and the Arab list in order to push the so-called
So you think this was
left.
orchestrated, in a sense, to isolate?
Well, in a political game, everything is possible. But I would like to get back to what we are doing. Yeah, you can laugh, but you have to be very respectful for everybody here.
Well, but can we maybe listen to some of the conditions that Ayman laid out? I mean, they're very much opposed to what the Likud would ever say.
I just want to say that in the last elections, it was a surprise, not for everybody, that Mr. Netanyahu talked to Mr. Gabay from the Labour Party to join the coalition. So from the Likud side, when they need to go to more votes, they are ready to open their hands to people who are, at the very beginning, not pro-Likud. That's just one point. But if I want to get back to what we are saying and what we are wishing from the Israel BEITEINU list, we want a large coalition with the Likud, with Kahol Lavan, and with ourselves.
And now, without Arabs.
Without Arabs, correct. Without Arab from the Arab list. In our list, we have a Christian.
Arabs who represent the Arabs.
We have. I don't know where they are represented.
Well, I want to come back to that.
No, correct. In our list, we have one member of the Christian Arab community, who, by the way, just was in the army, and he's part of the Israeli society, and he is totally open, and he has the ethical right to be part of the political game. But when just we talk of these people who are actually playing the Palestinian, even Hamas game in order to join the Knesset, to join the coalition in Israel. So of course to be a citizen doesn't mean that you're a good citizen. I mean, you can be a very bad citizen.
You can have your own opinion.
Shadi Khalul is a great friend of mine, great supporter of the state of Israel, and by the way, he doesn't define himself as an Arab. He defines himself as an Aramaic.
So he doesn't define himself as an Arab.
And the state recognizes him as an Aramaic.
So he's not an Arab according to his own definition. So when you want to talk about the Arabs, talk about the real Arabs.
I think Dr. Kedar is right. This is seriously going to undermine Blue and White's claim that it's a centre-right party, because everyone says that the Arab sector are loyal Israeli citizens. That's almost true, because in many ways they're not actively disloyal, but many of the elected members have been disloyal, like Khanin Zouabi, who sailed with the terrorists on the Mari Marmara.
She's not really in the list anymore.
But that's representative.
She did not sail with any terrorists.
Well, she was on the Mavi Marmara.
Mavi Marmara, she was.
Excuse me, you've been talking the whole time. Let me get a word in edgeways, if you don't mind. So you had Zouabi, who was vehemently anti-Zionist. You had
Gassel. There is no law to be. You have to be
Gassel Gattis, who smuggled telephones to terrorists. You had Bashara, who had to flee the country. Those all elected officials who had to flee the country because of his collaboration with Hamas. Adam, please, let me talk. Don't keep interrupting. But the integration of an Arab list in the government is extremely problematic. Are they going to sit in secret subcommittees like the Subcommittee for Intelligence? Are they going to sit there? Are they going to sit in the foreign policy and defense committees with state secrets? Where these people have a strong emotional, ethnic, religious connection to Israel's most vehement enemies, and even the names that I haven't listed have gone to Syria.
Well, so I do want to address for a second, which you kind of touched upon a minute ago. What the Arab Israeli voters actually think of this, because the Joint Arab List has largely often been blamed as not being actually representative of Israeli Arabs.
That's not true. That's not true. 80% of the Arab population voted for the joint list, who's the only thing that combines...
Well, 80% of the voters, perhaps.
80% of the vote.
But only 60% of Israeli Arabs voted.
Because Alice didn't care. But just 1 minute. The four factions that compose the joint list are completely disparate, except for one thing: they're all anti-Zionist.
Yes. First of all, I have to remind you that we are not in an ideological totalitarian country, and there is no law in Israel which requires everybody to be a Zionist.
That's the whole rationale of the country. That's the whole rationale of the country.
That's the whole rationale of the country, but
around this table there are at least three people.
Let's say in the Soviet Union, for sure, everybody would have said that the communism is the whole rationale of the Soviet Union.
And in America, you go to jail for that. In America, you go to jail for that. Some people even went to the electric chair for that.
There is no requirement by law for Israeli citizens to be a Zionist. It is the state ideology. It is very common, but an Israeli citizen, a Jew or an Arab, could be a non-Zionist, could be anti-Zionist.
But then, so do you believe that this will draw more Arab voters?
It might be. Now, I want to say The Arab Knesset members have been very often attacked for not taking care of the real problems of their constituents.
Sure.
Now, this list of demands, which was made by Ayman Odeh, is dealing very much with the daily life problems of the Arab citizens.
But it prioritizes the Palestinians.
No, not at all.
First and foremost,
but you are now totally misrepresenting. There are 4 demands. The first demand is about the building of the Arab.
It's an end to all demolitions in the West Bank. It is direct negotiations with the PA, which the PA has not come to the
table. You have asked me a question. I want to say the first thing is about the right of Arabs to build houses inside Israel. It is about
on their
own land. That is there is a demand to collect illegal weapons, which is in fact what Netanyahu himself announced that he was going to do, only that he did not do it.
Unfortunately, I'm so sorry, gentlemen. We have to cut it off here.
I'm still very surprised to see Israeli citizens so happy to defend the Arabs against Israel. I'm very strange.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming in.
I'm still surprised and I'm still astonished.
Colonel, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your insights today.